Bing, 'tis a season to be jolly and joyous.
I'll tell y'all what, recently I'm doing an unprecedented amount of cooking meat, putting myself in positions where I'm cooking meat. Homework I've given myself to do something that I find jarring and concerning. But here we are. Right now, as you can hear, I'm sure, from all of the noise, and you can see from the front-facing camera, and the Haunted Mansion up top. I'm upstairs in my parents' kitchen making spaghetti for Soup Squad. Downstairs there's a cookie turkey, which is a turkey cooking. Hey, what are you up to, bro? Huh? Yeah, go right down there. Mimi's here eating chips.
The bowl is great.
Huh? Oh, you tried it?
I cut the spiciness with sour cream.
It's so spicy. Yeah, we went to the, what's it called? The Wheeler Dealer. And we got those, they had these like Gardein bowls, not Impossible bowls. I keep on saying Impossible and they were Gardein.
Gardein Ultimate Plant-Based Bowl.
Yes, I got a couple of those. They're so spicy. They're only $2 at the Wheeler Dealer, which I think is definitely worth it. You cut it with sour cream?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a $6 to $8 bowl everywhere
Also
else.
I added cheese too, because
That makes sense. Anyway, I'm making food for Soup Squad, which is a community group here in Salem where they set up and they give hot meals to the folks who are living in a couple of different parks around town. I tried to make granola bars earlier this morning and they did not go the way that I wanted them to. So I've kind of smushed them into granola balls. The baby really likes it, so worst case it'll be fine. I just feel bad giving folks something that's like so crumbly it's gonna immediately fall apart and cause a problem for them. So I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna bring those or not, but the main thing that I'm bringing is this spaghetti, so that's not a huge deal. I have whole grain. This is food that we had left over from the pantry swap, which is kind of fun. So I've got whole wheat spaghetti, 2 boxes of it, which I'm gonna break because I feel like it's annoying when I'm eating spaghetti. I know you're not legally supposed to break it, but I'm doing that. Sorry, everyone. So I'm just gonna make all of it. 2 boxes, whole wheat, thin spaghetti, and then I did buy pork for this. Oh no, some of these are regular. This is regular spaghetti. We'll probably cook similar times, right? 6 to 7, 7 to 8. Well, I might have a little bit of overcooked spaghetti. Oh my god. Wow, I am not strong. Okay, anyway, a lot of noodles and some spaghetti sauce, and I have to leave in like 30 minutes, so I think this will be fine. Some folks make their meals like the day before. This is only the second time that I've actually like cooked for Soup Squad. I have done a lot of like weird resource drop-offs for them for their warehouse because my friend Holly, who is one of the like main organizers, I also do Circular Salem with, which is like a group that we like started together. So yes, so from the pantry swap, I took leftover those noodles and then pasta sauce and then flavored with meat pasta sauce. So these are all gonna end up together. And I don't think I've ever cooked pork sausage. I've cooked ground turkey before. Have I? I think once or twice. I got into cooking and then I almost immediately became vegetarian. Not even because of the cooking. Just because meat is concerning to me, generally speaking. So yeah, I'll bring you along with me and then we will go to Soup Squad. I'm obviously not going to show you the people because that's a huge invasion of privacy and very not cool. Anytime people make videos where they're like, I give homeless people 100, it's like that person sucks. So anyway, okay, this is what we've ended up with. Yay. I did Soup Squad. It went really well. I do this thing where I find myself, particularly if I'm making food for Soup Squad, this is the second time I've done it, and I'm just always like second guessing the choices that I've made, or as I'm making it, I'm like, oh shit, I should have got extra such and such, or like whatever. And I think there's this part of me that is not like a perfectionist, but maybe just like has anxiety that's like, I just shouldn't bring it. I should just call out from this experience instead. There's a little part of my brain, there's an evil little rat in my brain that goes, it would actually just be better if you told them, no, I can't show up today because I should have bought extra pork sausage for my spaghetti. I'm a floating head. And that isn't true. And people were very excited to eat the food that I brought, and just, you don't have to do something perfectly to be helpful to your community. I want you to hear that. It's important. And now I'm headed to a city council meeting where we're speaking out against ICE, and I haven't really prepared anything specific, and I'm a little freaked out about it. And this is another thing I'm doing imperfectly because I would have rather been there earlier, but I'm going now, and I will show up and I will hold my sign, and let's go.
Commissioner Gwynn? Here. Commissioner Brown? Present. Commissioner Vang?
In recent weeks, we've seen increased ICE activity in Salem. To be completely transparent, these are federal operations.
Homes have been invaded, families left shattered, the entire blocks living through uncertainty.
Go right ahead, Felix. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. My name is Felix May, and I am from Ward. I'm here in support of Latinos Unidos Siempre. Before I address the council and the mayor, I just want to say to the people in the audience, I'm really sorry about that blonde girl. I don't know what's wrong with her. That is unequivocally not the way that the majority of your community feels. We are so glad that you're here.
Could you address the council, please?
Love
Thank
to do
you.
so. City councilors who I have seen wax poetic about public safety. What the fuck? Like, what is people kidnapping our neighbors off of the streets if not a matter of public safety? What is it if not that? It's completely insane. Why is it that you care so much about white Salem business owners' level of comfort at having to witness our unhoused neighbors experience hardship, but you seem unconcerned that there are people here who are afraid to leave their homes? There are people at home watching who are afraid to leave their homes. You just celebrated Small Business Saturday. What about the immigrant-owned small businesses in Salem that are struggling and living in fear? Why are you not speaking out and doing everything in your power to keep our neighbors from being snatched off the streets by masked men holding guns? If this isn't an emergency, I cannot imagine what would constitute as an emergency for you. Mayor Hoy has said that there is only so much that our local government can do in the face of the federal government. Okay, does working for the federal government all of a sudden mean that a person cannot be held accountable for their actions? Their illegal actions of kidnapping and disappearing and hurting people and terrorizing people? You need to declare a state of emergency. You need to demand that Marion County drop their ridiculous lawsuit. You need to create a defense fund for families who are impacted by ICE, and you need to strengthen our Sanctuary Promise Act. It's crazy. If you cannot protect the people of Salem and support them in the face of this craziness that's going on right now, what are you for? What is your job? Thank you.
You can do something. I believe in you. People have voted believing in you. If you can't do it, we will find other people to do it. But come on, this is humanity. We can't let terror reign on our streets. That's wild.
I'm here today because our city is living through a crisis, a real one that many of you have ignored, minimalized, or has chosen not to acknowledge. And if you still don't know what's happening in your own neighborhoods, then shame on you.
I have seen and heard the fear my peers carry. Fears about immigration enforcement, fear about whether ICE will show up in our neighborhoods, and fear about whether our families will still be together when we get home from school. These when and ifs are not abstract ideas to us. They are conversations happening in school hallways, in classrooms, and on the bus ride home. This fear affects how we learn. It affects how we show up to class. It affects whether some students even feel safe enough to come at all.
There are incidents of individuals breaking car windows, pulling people from their vehicles, and targeting those they believe are undocumented. These acts of intimidation are creating terror that prevent people from going to work, taking their kids to school, or leaving their homes.
These are our loved ones, our neighbors, our classmates, our coworkers. No family should have ever go through this, never in their life. No child should be wondering if their parent will come home tonight or not. You all as city councils have the power to protect our community. You have the responsibility to act boldly, urgently, and apologetically. I urge you to listen to the community, uplift the demands of Latinos Unidos Siempre, and commit to the real protections for our immigrant families.
Councilor Glenn. Nay. Councilor Brown.
I got a good issue for her.
Aye.
Councilor Venn.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Lloyd.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. I would want to thank the courage of everyone who came here tonight. You spoke your truths tonight. You came forward, even though you put yourselves at risk doing so.
It's been a couple of days. I took a moment to decompress and think. Yeah, that was a lot. So city council meetings are typically, they start at 6, is that right? And I would say like 9 is like the later end of how long they go. That one went until I think 11:30, and I got home around like midnight-ish. Yeah, close to that, more like 11:45. It was a long meeting. Many people there in support of our immigrant community. Well, you may have seen in my almost completely unedited statement was me saying that I was sorry about the blonde girl who was before me. Her name is Riley Ashby, and she works for Turning Point USA, and I guess lives in Salem, which is unfortunate. There were a couple of people who attended the meeting that work for the Oregon GOP or for Turning Point and came to literally, they were like, thank you so much to the city council and also thank you to ICE. We really appreciate what ICE is doing. Which is just, I just can't imagine either being so ignorant or so brainwashed as to be like, yeah, I think it's like totally cool and fine. You guys get it. Even if the people who were being kidnapped were violent criminals, I would say it's still not appropriate to snatch them and to do so violently and to make it so their families can't figure out where they are and to be just generally evil and stressful. And we know that they're not violent criminals. So a lot going on there. I want to say, again, the vast majority, the clips that I chose were mostly folks who are a part of that community speaking, because I felt it was more important to like show those voices than it is to show like a bunch of white people saying very similar things to what I said. But it was a lot of folks coming out in support. Truly very few people who were there to be pieces of trash. There were agitators who were outside who were trying to get folks to react to them. That is not something I have ever seen at a city council meeting before. I've been to a few in person, mostly about library related things, so that's part of why I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, I thought it was important to include my full public comment because one, I was chastised by the mayor, who I hate, and two, maybe some folks saw sort of like the short clippy version of what I said, where I took out a lot of like ums and ahs and me sort of repeating things. So it's not that it was a perfect statement by any means, but I do feel pretty good about it. I hadn't written anything until I got there. I had like sort of like thought it through in my head a couple of times, like the sort of the main beats of what I wanted to say, and I knew that I was there in support of LUS, which is Latinos Unidos Siempre, which is our local youth advocacy group for Latinos in our area. And yeah, I don't know, the Salem City Council has a progressive majority, which is great. And what that means is of the 8 city councilors plus the mayor, typically 6 of them vote progressive. There's one, Dr. Brown, who's kind of a wild card. And then there are 2 conservative councilors and the mayor. The hope and the dream with this meeting was that they would amend one of the counselors' things that was put forth. I can't remember what it's called, agenda items, whatever, to vote on. It was a statement reinforcing that Salem is a sanctuary city. And they could have amended that and been like, and we'll do a state of emergency also. They didn't do that. They voted to vote at the next city council meeting on whether or not to do a state of emergency. They wanted to have the city staff write up what that would look like first, take some cues from the Hillsborough one, and do some other things. Now we have that statement of what the state of emergency would look like that they'll be voting on Monday. I expect that it will pass. I will be in attendance at that city council meeting, as will like a lot of the folks who were there at the last one, to express that like it's not enough. What they need to do is provide funds for families who are affected by ICE, and that is not something that's included in this like state of emergency. Another thing that they said that they would do was look into what the Salem police can do to enforce the law against federal officers. Like, I only read the state of emergency broadly, and then there supposedly is another statement about like Salem police, and it sounds like basically what they're going to say is like, oh, they can't really do much. So that's what I intend to push back against at city council in my public comment. The ones who voted no for like reaffirming Salem as a sanctuary city were just two. It was Councilor Matthews and Councilor Gwynn. They are both bought and paid for by the Oregon Realtors Association and the Salem Chamber of Commerce, which are both right-leaning groups. Councilor Matthews at least said that the reason that he was voting no is because like reaffirming us as a sanctuary city doesn't really do anything, and it just makes it more likely that the federal regime is going to like come down harder on Salem. You can't like roll over and be like, oh, please, no, don't. I'll just not push back against it and hope that that'll fix it. Like, obviously that's not working. And then Councilor Gwynn didn't give a reason. And then Mayor Julie Hoy did vote in support of it, even though I hate her. I appreciate it that she voted to support that. Kind of seems like the least she can do, considering she allegedly attended the Trump inauguration and did a lot of frilly poetic talking at the beginning about how like we are a community and it's important that we be kind at this meeting and not dehumanize each other, and there's like real fear happening, and like she's with our immigrant community, and like just a lot of that. She got ripped to shreds in people's public testimony because she owns a restaurant called Geppetto's in Salem. Don't buy from there. Allegedly. That's my opinion. You shouldn't buy food from there. But that there was a kidnapping that happened literally like right next door, like a couple doors down from Geppetto's, and they were like, did you see that video? And she's like nodding and just like, yeah, I care a lot, like look at my big eyes, like I'm really concerned. And then they're like, did you reach out to the family? Did you reach out to that business? Did you try to talk to them? And then it's like stone face, and it's like, yeah, Julie Hoy, I wonder why. Interesting. Anyway, and then for the motion for them to vote on the state of emergency, that passed, and Matthews, Gwynn, and Hoy all voted no on that because they didn't even want to vote on whether or not to have a state of emergency. So, you know, what happened with this was functionally what we wanted to happen. There is some loose wording in the state of emergency that includes like work with local organizations, like local like immigrant advocacy groups, like that kind of thing, which could be, I think, expanded out into we're gonna help fund these folks as they're like fighting lawsuits and doing other things. When it comes to bureaucratic city government politics things, I'm kind of a pessimist. So I think that they want us to think that so that we won't push back against it, which is why it's so good that I'm now on an email chain of boomers being like, and we'll be at the next one, yelling again. The like kind of most wild thing for me that happened at that city council meeting was Dr. Brown, who is a city councilor, who he is Black, and I believe he was in the military, or maybe just his dad was in the military, and his brother's a cop. So there's layers there. He's from Louisiana also. He ran as a progressive councilor, and his voting is kind of all over the map I think because of his upbringing, which, you know, whatever, but it just can be kind of frustrating for me sometimes, the things that he says. When it came to like the library levy stuff, he was very like, yeah, because I'm all for public safety. And it's like, okay, it was a lot. He went on a long tangent because he's religious, basically saying that he doesn't understand how people who self-identify as Christians can be like, yeah, and I think it's totally fine for our neighbors to get snatched up and beaten and have their car windows broken in, which I really liked most of what he was saying. I wish he wasn't saying it at 11 p.m. When we were all like, let's get this meeting over with. We've been here for like 5 hours. I think that what he was essentially doing felt to me like an impassioned plea to the conservative city council members to just like be people, as well as I think a denouncing of the folks who spoke, who were like, thank you so much to ICE, which I really appreciated. I am not sure what specifically everybody, I don't know what the goal is. If Latinos Unidos Siempre releases something that they want folks specifically to talk about at this next city council meeting, that's what I'll stick to. Whatever they want us to say, I'm there in support of that. If there is not kind of like a, hey, these are the talking points and the things that we'd love for people to focus on if they're with us, then I do think I want to say something about how it is so unreal to have the mayor of our city be like, let's not be dehumanizing each other. It's really important. Like, there are going to be people with a difference of opinion. And so we all need to like, you know, like come together and be like, yeah, it's fine for you to voice that difference of opinion. When this is not progressives versus conservatives. This is not liberals versus Republicans or liberals versus MAGA or leftists versus, it's not that at all. It is quite literally people who think that folks illegally being kidnapped is bad versus people who are either so brainwashed or so ignorant or so racist that they either think that that's not happening, which we know isn't true, or they think that it's okay for that to be happening. None of those perspectives are normal. And so while those folks have a right to their 3 minutes of public comment, everyone in the audience who is a person who cares about their community also has a right to boo them and to yell at them. Absolutely. If the consequences of your actions of spewing hateful rhetoric include people yelling at you, if that is the negative consequences being volleyed at you, when your hopeful outcome of what you are saying is for more people to be hurt, that is so minimal. That is so not even like in the ballpark of what we need to be talking about. Like, that's insane. So something more eloquent than that, that's basically like, girly, oh my God, what's wrong with you? That's insane. You saw me speak at city council. That's the most comfortable I've ever been speaking at city council, partially I think because we were there for so many hours, partially because it's the third time that I have provided public comment. I did so once for a school board meeting where they literally stopped me and were like, you have to talk slower. And then when I did my library comment, I was just like staring at my paper the entire time and so nervous. And it's something that you like get comfortable doing, even if you're someone who doesn't like public speaking. Also, you probably saw some folks in the clips that I put on here who are just looking at their paper. That is also okay. There's not an incorrect way to give public comment. And in fact, there are folks who will just like get up there and like talk and just monologue and not even really go off of anything. And all of those are completely just, it's whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, however you need to express yourself. I just think it's important that you do express yourself. So, yes, if you have never been to a city council meeting, and if you have never provided public comment, my homework and my hope and my dream for you is for you to watch a live stream, even after the fact would be fine, and to do an email public comment. Try to do that. And if you have done an email public comment, my homework for you is for you to attend a meeting and hold a sign And if you've sent an email and you've held a sign, my next homework is for you to speak about something. Just because these are the kinds of things we know that this pressure on our local politicians gets them to do something. Because like when it comes to specifically Shane Matthews, he is the counselor of a ward that one of my friends is in. And she literally went to him and was like, hey, we're really freaked out about ICE. How do we get this on the agenda for next city council meeting? And the sentence he said to her, allegedly, verbatim, was like, okay, well, there has to be like a lot of public pressure for us to like change an agenda and put something on the agenda. So like, there's not any way that you could do that. Like, you don't have any power over that. And then it got added to the agenda because people have a lot of feelings about it. So yeah, I hope that your takeaway from this is that this is something that is not fundamentally scary. It is not something that you have to do perfectly. It is something that is important, and that it's something that like you will feel better to be existing in solidarity with your fellow folks who feel the same way as you. I hope that that is your experience. When there are more people who are in opposition of what you have to speak about, it is exhausting, but it is that much more important that you go and do that because the stakes are higher in a different way. So thanks for coming along with me. If you want to check out Salem Soup Squad, if you are in Salem, Oregon, or in like the surrounding area, they are on Instagram is where they do their like main sort of organizing. Yeah, you can sign up to be a maker or a server. I was a maker and I stuck around to like wait for my pot to be empty basically. That way I could kind of like see what serving looks like. And I think I would be comfortable and confident enough to do it, to serve next time. Everybody was super nice. The organizers are really great. They just want people to get food, and people are just happy to get food. So it's a very kind of like low barrier way to help out in your local community. See if you have a like food not bombs or something like that in your area. We have Soup Squad, and I love Soup Squad. Thank you for being here. Happy Vlogmas on the something-if day of Vlogmas. Felix gave to you, hopefully, some optimism. Okay. All right. Goodbye. It says that I'm going to be like 12 minutes early. Love that for me, based on the level of frazzled that I'm feeling. That didn't... You guys get it. Don't worry, my windshield wipers are going. Oh.